And sometimes I think to myself, like, right now, in this moment, how can I prepare to be the person that the future needs? How was the transition from graduate life to full-time business owner? Not bad at all, because I went to a very intensive university which wanted to break my neck every day. Do you plan to get a quote-unquote normal job? End of last year, I was dealing with a lot of condemnation, I would say. Everything has had to be trust because I invested all my savings into this company. Are you in a relationship? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. It has been so long since I said that. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Valentine's Day, Happy February, Happy January. All the greetings are done now. I have been MIA because I have genuinely been putting my head down, trying to hustle, trying to grind, but also trying to take a step back from social media and trying to figure myself out as an influencer, particularly post-university. And whilst, you know, my mindsets are changing and I feel like I am maturing, I wanted to, if you go back and you watch my first video ever, I remember I said that this was basically gonna be a channel for like thinking people, right? It's gonna be a channel for people who really want to have real, transparent, deep discussion. And in the earlier age of my channel is 3 years old now, toddler, it was that, and I love the content that I made, and I've loved all the content that I've made every stage of the way. But as I'm getting older, or as I'm being exposed to more things, I want to have real conversations with people and basically just speak my mind like I said I would. So yeah, disclaimer, I am currently in the CD Beauty studio, which if you have watched my last video you would know all about. If you hear traffic noise or anything like that, that's pretty much why. I'm on a road, like a busy road. So yeah, let's get straight into this Q&A. Shout out to everybody who sent me questions on Instagram. If you are not following me yet, you better jump on it. But yeah, let's get into it. Did you expect to do CD Beauty full-time post-university? So for anybody who doesn't know, CD Beauty is my hair company. I started this August 25th basically, and we have been going strong since. I'm so happy. We're currently expanding the team. We make custom wigs and sell hair extensions, and I started this as soon as I graduated from university. I started working on it, and I didn't expect to do CD Beauty Co full-time when I first started university. So first year, second year, I thought to myself, there is no real way, realistically, like being from the social class that I'm from in terms of my financial background from my family, would I be able to support myself being self-employed after university. I wasn't going to be able to rely on my parents. At best, I'll be able to live at home rent-free, which thank God I actually am right now, living at home rent-free. Shout out to my mama. But I didn't think it was going to be realistic, and also it's just not something that's common, right? People don't usually leave university at 21 years old and become self-employed straight away. So I thought I was going to have a job, and I had a job offer lined up for a really great company, doing a job role which I really would have been great in, I think. And obviously they thought, because they gave it to me, and I was about to earn like a good graduate salary, and as always, God just threw a spanner in the works and said, what if you do this? And yeah, I took that step of faith in 2018, last year, and it has paid off a lot. I think towards the middle of third year, I started to kind of reconcile with the idea of becoming a full-time business owner and being self-employed, and so I saved accordingly for it. So I did kind of expect it. I didn't kind of plan for it, but it was like 6 months of planning. Life after uni, that's literally the question. Life after uni is calm. Like, it's stressful. Adulting is a scam, but it's actually going quite good. Goal for 2019, or goals for 2019, focus. I think for me, I've often had my eyes or my mind wandering in so many different places, thinking, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, maybe if I try this, maybe if I tried that. But right now it's about like laser sharp focus. And I know everyone always says, oh, in your 20s it's a great time to kind of try and fail. I agree with that 100%, but it's about strategically trying and strategically failing right now for me. So it's about laser sharp focus for me 2019. Tips for a healthier lifestyle, I have no idea. Please tell me when you find the answers. One thing I would say is self-care is important. As somebody who is quite busy in terms of running a business full time and speaking engagements and trying to still be a good friend and then doing stuff in church and things like that, life can get really hectic and you can sometimes really let yourself go. And I think towards the latter part of last year, just generally as the winter comes, I just let myself go. But taking care of yourself, resting up, making sure that you're actually eating, actually sleeping is important. I'm still trying to work on the healthy part, but I think that self-care lifestyle is really important. How is the hair business going? It's going very, very well. Thank you to every single person who has sat in this chair and supported CDB, because you don't have to. Like, you're giving me money to provide you a service and you trust me enough to, I have returning clientele and I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't got your CDB wig yet, what you doing? What you doing, huh? Definitely go and purchase one. I think it'll be a great investment. That's where this hair's from. How did you find yourself and learn to love it? So how did I find myself? I think I'm continually finding myself. I think we're all just too complex as human beings to just know ourselves at one stage of our life. But I think how I got to a point of self-love was really trying to embrace my difference. I think sometimes we can highlight our difference in such a negative way, but the truth is, difference is what makes the world beautiful. So cliche, I know, but if you learn what's different about you and you try to figure out or try to give that a reason as to why the world or your life or the people around you or what you can bring to the world that makes that difference necessary and beautiful, that helped me get to a point of self-love. What other things do you plan or are currently venturing whilst you're expanding your hair business? So kind of under wraps, kind of not, but I'm starting a second company, which is fun. It should be interesting. How was the transition from graduate life to full-time business owner? Not bad at all, because I went to a very intensive university which wanted to break my neck every day, and business is not dissimilar from that. Advice on what to do whilst looking for the right graduate job and the transition into the real world: acquire talents, acquire skills, and continue to invest in yourself and invest on creating a very good CV or portfolio or just resume, because you're trying to prepare yourself to be the best candidate in whatever field or whatever job for whatever position you want. And sometimes I think to myself, like, right now in this moment, how can I prepare to be the person that the future needs? And when you kind of have it at that perspective, every single moment of every day becomes valuable, right? Whether that be you're resting or you're planning or you're executing. You spend time acquiring skills, maybe learn something, learn a different language, learn about social media, learn how to code, learn how to do hair, learn how to do makeup, I don't know, learn how to edit videos. Just learn something, continue to or strengthen a skill that you already have, and just make yourself more valuable to the world. How do you achieve and maintain self-love? So yeah, I was saying this is something that I need to make a whole video about, because I feel like I've gone through such a thorough spectrum of trying to do this and I'm still not all the way there yet. So I'm gonna make a video on how to achieve self-love, or how I feel achieves some sort of amount of self-love, or I'm working towards it actively. But I think that's a thing in itself. You have to actively work towards it, you know, you actively work towards falling in love with yourself. How are you, honestly? Thank you so much for asking this question. I'm good, you know. I went through a bit of a rut over the last few weeks, simply because You know when you have so many dreams and you have so many ambitions and you actually know how to get to where it is you're trying to go to, but it's like your whole body and your will is not falling in alignment with you and you're just thinking, what's wrong with me? That's where I've been for the last few weeks. But I'm getting out of that, and one huge manifestation of that is recording this video finally and stopping procrastinating. How are you feeling being back at home compared to uni? I like it. I actually, crazy compared to how it was before, but I thoroughly enjoy being around my mom, being around my sister, being at home. It's a chilled vibe, you know. My mum's not too strict. Shout out to you, mumsy. And yeah, I can chill. I think a lot of people get through this thing of I don't have my own space anymore. And yes, I don't have my own space in terms of my sister borrows my stuff, you know. It'll be there one day, then it's not. My food gets eaten, etc, etc. You need these things were not happening to me. I like it. I don't think it's too bad. I think it also helps that I don't have very young siblings. My sister's only like 4 years younger than me and she's quite mature for her age, so we don't really butt heads. We get along well. So yeah, we're good. How did you know what you wanted to study at uni after A-levels? I didn't really know. I think it was a huge battle for me. My mum wanted me to study law. For a time and a period in my life, I wanted to study law. After going to summer school and, you know, going to taste the lectures and any open days and stuff, I just realized, and just talking to students, looking at online curriculums or university curriculums, it wasn't for me. I could tell already. So I just went with what I most liked in terms of, you know, what course do I like at this university? What do I think most interests me? Am I going to be passionate about it? And so I just decided to study political and social sciences at Cambridge University. What job do you want to go into? I don't know. It's a hard question to ask because I consider myself trying to be an entrepreneur or being an entrepreneur. I would love to just own, invest in, work with loads of companies in the beauty and pretty much beauty space, I'm not gonna lie, but also the social media space in terms of content creation and even film production and stuff like that. So that should be cool, but I don't think I want to go into a job necessarily. If I do go into a job, it'll probably be like business consultancy or something to do with strategy. I love strategizing, I love strategy, so I'd probably go into something as such. Any tips for new Christians? Stay prayed up. Stay prayed up, and I think really take advantage of this time of being so in love with God. Like when you're a new Christian, you kind of had that, but like when you're in a new relationship, everything is also, you know, butterflies and frilly and every revelation is fantastic. Love that moment, love that time, love the season that you're in. Spend time in God's presence, and also as a new Christian, just spend time really going over the foundations of the faith. I think a great way to do that is to read things like the Gospels, so like Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. Read things like Romans, which kind of give us our foundations as believers and what we're meant to do. Read things like Acts of the Apostles. I think that's also a good read. But obviously just love God and be a child in his presence, you know, let him teach you some stuffs. I want to strengthen the sound of his voice. Any tips on how to do so? One thing that really changed my way of hearing God was realizing that his voice sounds like his word. So keep yourself in the word of God, and when you hear things, whether God speaks to you through other people, or if he's speaking to you through music, or if he's speaking to you through a situation, you can align his voice with his word. So that's one tip that I would give to you. What's the most mind-boggling thing / fact you've learnt in your life so far? I don't know. I really don't know, you know. Oh, okay. It spun me when I first learned it, but it probably won't mean anything to you. So my mum, her tree name, if you know that, in the Ashanti culture, I'm from Ghana by the way, in the Ashanti culture, children are often named after, for example, the days of the week. So I grew up knowing that my mum's name was Okuya, which means she's a Wednesday born. So I always knew my mum's name was Akuya, and everyone calls her Akuya, Akuya, Akuya. So I was like, oh yeah, my mum's a Wednesday born. And then I think one day, like my whole life basically, and then one day she told me that actually she wasn't born on a Wednesday, she was named after a lady called Akuya. She's actually Ya, and that means she was born on a Thursday. And I kid you not, in that moment she told me, it felt like she was a complete stranger. Like I didn't know who she was or what she stood for. I didn't know. So that really got to me. So my mum's name is not her name, but that's not really a fact that will mind boggle you. It just made me realise that I don't really know who she is. To start a business, you think it's best to build a following first? That's a really, really good question. And no, loads of entrepreneurs, most entrepreneurs, do not start a business when they have their own personal followings. They capitalise off whatever influence they have by convincing their family, their friends to either invest in them or buy from them. And then they create a brand following. So it's not something that you have to do at all. How are you able to keep on top of your faith, e.g. reading the Bible on such a busy schedule? One thing I would say, I'm not the best at it, I'm not perfect, but be intentional. I sometimes feel like the only way I can sometimes get it done, particularly being someone who gets very tired, who works sometimes really late into the night, it's not something, if I say I'm going to leave it to the end of the day, I'm not going to find a time to do it. So it's usually something I have to make sure is one of the first things I do in the day, if not the first thing I do in the day. So around when my alarm rings, I've set a notification to come up from the Bible app to give me the verse of the day, or to basically prompt me to read the Bible. If I don't do that, it's very hard to kind of recollect it for me. Being very intentional and make it a priority is what I would say. Do you plan to get a quote-unquote normal job or start up your own business? So I've already started up my own business, and I don't expect to get a normal job. But if I do get a job, never say never, you know, I might end up getting a job that pays me, you know, £700,000 a year. You never know. At what point in your life did you struggle with your faith, and how did you overcome these times? End of last year, I was dealing with a lot of condemnation, I would say. I might make a video about that in itself, but I was just dealing with a whole lot of feeling like I had missed God's time, and you know, God had told me to do something or do some things, and I had been avoiding them so much that it was like, actually, God's time had just missed me, and I had basically just been left and cast away to the side, and it was hard for me to let that go, but I got over it pretty much by or I overcame it pretty much by just getting a new revelation of the love of God and His grace and His mercy, which is why this year 2019 is the year of God's grace and mercy for me. Where do you want to be in 10 years time? I'll be 31 years old and hopefully retired, and not retired as in not doing anything, but I just want to be running my companies from a very laid back position, and watching other people flourish, because you know, I've given them the opportunity to display their best selves, and it's making me residual income, and hopefully I can spend loads of times with my kids and travel the world with my boo thing. From time to time do seminars and lecture and just pass my knowledge on to other people, write books, eat good food. But yeah, my 30s, particularly after 35, I want it to be so cushy. Like I just want it to be so like relaxed, you know. Some people may say that's not a great way to use your youth. Yeah, whatever. Do you think a master's degree is worth the struggle? I want to go and get a master's degree, and I do think it's worth it if you know how it fits into whatever plan you're doing with life. I never think you should go and accumulate so much debt unless you can, just to buy yourself some time, which some people do with their masters, and I guess now with like loans and scholarships, maybe you can do that. But I would definitely say if you're gonna do the masters and you're gonna go through, like you said, that struggle, make sure it fits into your life somehow, whether you're going to go and accumulate just another life experience or another qualification that you need or whatever. Make sure you know why you're doing it. Don't do it for other people. Don't do it just to satisfy the expectations of other people, and don't do it just because you don't really know what to do, especially if you feel like there are other ways you could fill your time. How has your faith grown through your journey after graduation? It has been a huge trusting season for me. So since I graduated in June and God was like, start a company, everything has had to be trust, because I invested all my savings into this company, and I'm investing all my time into it, and I'm investing all my time into myself, you know, being self-employed, and I have to just trust God that he will be a provider, that he will be a protector, that he will be an accelerator, that he will be a covering for me, and that I will be provided with the wisdom that I need to be able to carry such a heavy load. You know, I've got a team, and at 21, being a leader of other people and trying to draw out the most potential out of them, sometimes you don't know how to do that. So it's been huge in terms of realizing how God actually fits into my everyday, that this whole ministry thing is not just for Sunday, it's not just for a pulpit, it's not just for behind a mic, it's for every single moment of every day. Would you like to do more public speaking in the future? Yeah, definitely. I do quite a lot of public speaking, and I'm doing more. I've been doing more. I mean, I had 2 engagements last week, so I've been doing more. If you want to book me, email me, info@courtneydaniella.co.uk. Are you in a relationship? You're cursed with too many options. Have you ever regretted being self-employed at any point? Maybe 2 times a day. Yep. How can I start a business as a student with little money and find good suppliers? So for the last few months, I've been missing my goals for my business and my financial goals.